All right, just to recap what we're going to start today on this second training for you guys on the Advisory Mastery course. We are going to pick up kind of where we left off last week on the LACE process, you know, the objection handling process to help you guys have some tools in your belt when you're dealing with customers, especially from the advisor side, some things that you want to do and some things that you don't want to do when it comes to transferring leads over to your experts and to your teammates. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Just give me 1 second so I can pull up everything. And I will look for a thumbs up from you guys if you can see my screen. On the ones that are on camera, can I get a thumbs up? Awesome, awesome. So let me go ahead and start this up for you guys. So again, it's January 9th. Is today Wednesday? Yeah, I think it's Wednesday. So we're going to get started on the LACE process. Understanding objections, steps to the process, and example scenarios is what's on the agenda today. And at any point, if you have a question, Charles is monitoring when you raise your hand. I have no problem pausing and answering specific questions throughout the program, or we will definitely have a Q&A at the end of the presentation, okay? So Charles is in charge, and that was meant to be funny. So the LACE process, just to, again, a reminder, it's a process of basically answering questions and concerns from the customer. You know, the context is that this should be seen as a positive sign if you're getting questions. The good news is that customer is giving you, not someone else, a chance to answer those questions. So see that as a positive thing. Addressing concerns and answering questions is a great way to build that trust, demonstrate some expertise, and develop a great customer experience. To do this, we do employ a powerful and effective tool for objection handling called the LACE process. Again, that process is listen, acknowledge, clarify, and educate. You know, some pro tips when we're going to go through this is don't be in a hurry to overcome objections. You know, show that you care. And the old adage is really, it is true. Customers don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So be careful not to cause objections when you're talking to customers and trying to generate interest into the program. Don't bring up objections if it's not necessary, you know. Be careful not to cause objections by bringing up issues that were not a concern before. So I hope you guys are getting all this. And again, if you're not in a place where you can take notes, don't worry. We will be posting this slide deck for you, okay? But the objective, again, here is to show customers their questions are being heard and addressing their concerns and educating them on the process. You know, realize that concerns and objections often have merit, but they may not always address the true issue the customer is facing. So don't immediately attempt to overcome the objection by trying to challenge or convince the customer. You know, rather show that customer that you genuinely want to understand their concerns. You know, in the LACE process, it's an effective conversational structure, and it's designed to align with the customer, uncover objections, and offer a simple, measured response. You know, so again, listen, acknowledge, clarify, educate. That's what the acronym is for. And if there's any point, I can't see you guys on camera. So Charles, I'm hoping you're able to watch the group if there's anybody that's raising their hands, okay? But I'm gonna kind of roll through this because it is a lot of content that we're gonna cover because I wanna get to the meat of this and actually go over some objection examples. But the steps, so
if there is a question, if you raise your hand, I can only see a few people on camera, but you can raise your hand in the box down below where you go to chat or to raise your hand. So just FYI, okay?
Awesome.
I'm keeping my camera off so I can watch things and not be kind of doing this on camera, just FYI.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
So the steps here, to give you a little definition and more detail on each step, listen with purpose. You know, never interrupt your customers. You know, use head nodding and facial expressions to show your interest. Use active listening to demonstrate that you're focused on what the customer is saying, not thinking about what you're going to say next. You know, listening shows you genuinely care. And this is one of the most important things I would say an advisor can learn and will help them be more effective, but also even as a consultant, you know, listening and letting your customers talk as much as possible so that you can formulate that response to them. After you've listened to their concern, it's really good to acknowledge what they've said, align with the customer. Let them know that their concern is valid, and acknowledging the merit of a customer's question is always an important practice. It shows the customer that you value their concern. And I'm going to show you exactly examples of how this looks. Clarify. Repeat back what you are hearing to clarify and demonstrate your understanding. Many times the true concern is not revealed in that surface level question or objection. So attempt to look beneath the objection by asking clarifying questions back to them. And again, the final step is to be an educator, not a salesperson. Don't come across as a know-it-all or act like you have all the answers by sharing your knowledge and expertise. This process works on both sides, whether you're generating a lead and just working on getting some interest from a customer, or whether you've already got a customer in your pipeline that you're trying to work on and you're wanting to overcome some of their objections. Actually, the consultants will get some objection handling using this process as well, with questions that often come up during a consultation. So that is an upcoming training for consultants specifically with objections from customers. So now we're going to get into some of the meat of this and examples of the listen, acknowledge, clarify, educate process. So here's an objection: insufficient savings. I know we hear this one all the time, especially in some of our utilities where they're really focused on price protection and it's kind of a bill swaps. But most customers are focused on the initial savings when considering solar. While this can be important, there are many other financial benefits from going solar, including, as we all know, but a lot of our customers don't, but including owning your system, long-term protection, which is like hedging against rising electricity costs, federal and state tax credits, and in some areas, SREC, solar renewable energy credits. By reframing this discussion from initial savings to a broader discussion of financial benefits, customers will recognize and embrace the many different reasons that solar is the best choice, right? So here's an example. The customer says, actually, Charles, I would like to unmute a couple people here that are on the call and have them be the customer.
Tell me.
So let's go, Stormy. Do you have your microphone on?
Let me find Stormy. Let's see.
Hi.
By the way, there you go. Yeah, you can always unmute yourself if I don't get you quick enough, so feel free.
So Stormy, can you be the customer in this case, and then I'll be the consultant or the advisor?
Sure.
So right here. Yep.
Sorry, I was just doing multitasking. Let me get my head in it. Okay, so what am I doing?
You're the customer on the right-hand side where it says listen. If you could read off what the customer's saying, and then I'll respond back as the advisor.
Okay. My biggest concern is whether or not this is actually going to save us money. If it's only going to save us $20 per month, I'm just not sure it's worth it.
I completely understand. And that's one of the most common concerns that I hear from my customers. Everyone wants to make sure that solar makes economic sense. So just to be clear, Stormy, you just want to know if you go solar, that the financial benefits are worth it. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly.
Awesome. Okay, well, that makes sense. Most people start out looking into solar for lower electricity costs, but that's usually not the only reason they decide to go forward with solar. What they realize is they have to pay a monthly utility bill no matter what, whether they go solar or not. What becomes clear is by switching to solar, they can take control of their energy costs, have long-term predictability, and protection against rising utility costs. Solar then becomes an obvious choice for a lot of our customers. Let me do this for you. I have one of our experts available. They can actually see if you even qualify for one of our programs. What works best for you? Maybe we can get somebody to sit down with you soon. Are you more available in the mornings or afternoons?
Afternoon.
Awesome. Easy peasy, right? I wish they were all that easy. But, yeah, thank you, Stormy. I appreciate that. And that is just an example of how you're going to hear their concern, and you're going to acknowledge that they have a concern, Then you're going to clarify by just repeating it back to them. Like, just to be clear, it sounds like one of your biggest concerns is this, and then you give them a little bit of an education process. From the advisor side, you don't want to go into the full presentation, but you want to whet their interest enough that they want to do an appointment with you. Does that, can I get a thumbs up if everybody's, kind of getting that? If anybody has a question, please pipe in, and if not, we're going to move on to the next objection, okay?
Question from Craig, if you want to take one.
Go for it, Craig.
All right, Craig, here you go. Go ahead, Craig.
All right, guys. Well, thanks. I had a workshop last night at my home with Carol Cole Lewis, and somebody brought up the question, well, I hear that net metering credit at the end of the year is going away in California. So there's, that's a real live one.
Okay. That's and how you might use the LACE process for that is like, oh, okay. So, just to let me understand, you're worried that the net metering credit is going to be going away at the end of the year, right? Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Well, actually, that net metering has gone through multiple changes over the last few years. It started with 1.0 and then it moved to 2.0. As far as I know, it's not going away, but they will potentially change the program. So in the next iteration of the program, it may be that they give a little bit less on the credit back to you, but because the rate is so high, it's a matter of just a 1 or 2 cents, and you're still going to be earning credits at a higher rate than what you're currently paying. What's great about that is in the current program, because we do have time to get people installed and see if they qualify and make sure that they get the best current program, if you can get 2.0, it's locked in for 20 years.
Perfect.
Time sensitivity.
Yeah.
Urgency. And that is more like an education coming from a consultant, because it's a little deeper information.
Yeah.
But if you're an advisor and you get that same kind of question, again, acknowledge, let me just be clear. You're really worried about whether or not net metering is going away.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Well, you know what? From what I understand, it's just going to potentially be changing. Let me do this for you. I have a great expert that can actually go over how the program works and see if your house qualifies. Let's find a time that works best for you. Are you more available in the mornings or afternoons?
Yeah, perfect. Afternoons.
Awesome. Let's do this.
Yeah, I like segue. I like it. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. So the next objection I have on here was, wait, before I do that, was there any other situations or questions that anybody has? We're looking good, Charles?
Don't see anyone.
Awesome. Okay, so the next objection. I need to do more research. Can I get a thumbs up or a thumbs down on anybody that's ever heard this one? Awesome. Okay, so the context again, a common objection is that the customer wants to do their own research first. Check the website, read our reviews. And by the way, Charles, should I be turning off my video so that it's not cutting in and out of the slide deck?
Nope, you're good. I'm going to minimize it like this. You're good.
Okay. So, so the common objection, I need to do more research. That's when the customer wants to do their own research first. Check the website, read your reviews, talk to friends or neighbors that have it before having someone come out to their home or do a Zoom call with them. So the customer in this case, we're going to pick on you, David King. Can you be the customer? Just unmute yourself.
David, I'm going to unmute you, David. Put it back in big screen.
Okay.
Good. And if you don't mind, I want to just do a quick shout out to David, who, by the way, just sponsored another fantastic team member. Lee came on board. So awesome job, David. And I know you've got more than 10 people coming on just in the last couple of months. So fantastic job, my friend.
Nice, David.
Yeah, thank you.
Great job. Okay, so if you could be the customer and I'll be the rep or the consultant.
Okay.
So go ahead and read off under listen.
I need to do more research first.
I understand and I hear that a lot, So to be clear, you want to make sure you check us out, trust us, and believe in what we're doing before you have someone come out. Oh, he muted again.
I'll unmute him. Go ahead, David.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I'm actually the same way. I'd like to do my own research and make sure I'm comfortable with the company before I move forward with them. So what I can do is set up your consultation, maybe a few days out, 2 to 3 days out, and I'll email over some information, like some videos, maybe some articles and reviews. The great thing about a consultation is that everything is customized to your home. So it's the best way to get the research you're looking for. Then you can decide if it makes sense for you or not. So what I'm saying there, and this is where I'm pausing off of the script, what I'm saying there is, I totally get that you want to do research. And honestly, the best way that you're going to find out everything about us is by actually talking to one of our experts, So how does, mornings or afternoon work for you?
Oh, afternoon's best.
Let's do it. Everybody wants to be in the afternoon. That's awesome. So at this point, again, it's this whole idea that you're setting up a cadence for how you're dealing with some of these objections. You're doing it in a structured way so that you're building that trust and clarity with the customer, making sure that what you are hearing is what they are asking. Sometimes they might say something and you just need to clarify just to make sure that before you answer and educate them, what it is specifically that they're really looking for, So if there's any questions after this objection or any examples anybody would like to share, or a time where they had a customer say something similar to this and how you were able to handle it, this is a great time to share that. And I'll leave it to you, Charles, to look for those.
I have a question.
Stormy?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm actually going through this with one of my advisors. He's actually submitted his own house in Florida, and he did a quote with us, and then he just went quiet. He actually didn't even tell me he was going to go get another quote. And he came back and he looked into a co-op program in Florida. So right now we're looking at the difference between the two quotes, and they're so different, like the way that they're presented, that it's like really hard to tell the difference. One's a cash proposal, one's a loan. So I guess right now it's just, I'm kind of at a standstill of how to get him to move forward with us and not the co-op program.
Okay, so it sounds like it's a case of apples versus oranges, that he's not really comparing two of the similar things. He's comparing two completely different things.
Exactly.
And right. So Stormy, that seems like one that for me to give you back a educated response, I'd probably want to do a little bit more research on what the co-op is doing. But, you can say, hey, dude, or whatever your dude's name is, I totally understand that you want to look at all options available to you. So just to be clear, what you're looking for is, try to narrow down what the most important thing is to him. If it's, long-term price protection or just getting clean energy, figure out where his, what it is he's looking for. And almost always our solution is going to be better than the co-op solution, because from what I understand in most co-ops, it just gives them a chance to purchase clean energy through their utility, and they get a certain rate schedule on their rate. It doesn't mean that they're producing their, they're not putting that little mini utility on their own roof, right? They're purchasing it from like a farm or something like that the utility has. Is that correct?
No, I think it's a little bit different than that kind of program. I think the panels actually are going on his roof. Okay.
So I guess maybe educate him on, more on the fact that this is apples and oranges, and show him those benefits and values on our solution, and just focus on that. But I can definitely take this offline with you and go over it more when I see the two proposals. That's okay.
Yes, that would be great.
Cool.
Sandra has a question for you.
All right, Sandra.
If I can go down and unmute if you don't get to it first, Sandra.
There you go. Good morning. Thank you for your time, Rachel.
Thank you.
Here in Canada, we have one advisor typically per region. And so the objection, if you want to say, is that they would like to also see other proposals.
They'd like to what?
They'd like to have their own, another proposal come in. Can you hear me?
Yeah, another proposal from you?
No, they would like to have a second proposal, and I'm typically only able to give them one because we have one provider on the platform.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So they want to see a different contractor, or different, but from us?
No, they want to have a second comparison.
What is it that they want to compare?
The price probably. They probably want to see that they're being given something competitive for the market. So they wanted to do some further research by having another quote.
Oh, from a different company. That's where you're going.
That's right.
Okay. And that's fine if you guys, if you're, the thing is you can't really tell a customer not to do something like that because they're going to do it no matter what. If that's what they want to do, they're going to do that,
So my question is, what is the best follow-up with that so that they can go off and get their own?
So from what I understand, Charles, and you can correct me, we do have a version of what's called a best value guarantee.
We do have a version of that. We can certainly bring that back to the table. I mean, Canada is a little bit of its own country, so to speak, right? Right.
Literally.
Literally in that sense, a little bit more complicated. The one thing that I would, getting a little bit off of terms of this particular coaching is probably letting them know we've done our research in the last 4 years. We've created 40,000 proposals and partnered with 130 companies, and we've chosen what we feel is the best company for you. Rather than coming in and giving you 4 different proposals, we've chosen what we feel is best. Now, if you need an independent verification of that, by all means, I'm here to help you. You're a consultant. But from an advisor standpoint, which is what we're trying to keep this coaching on today, really it's to redirect it to somebody like Sandra as the expert.
So Sandra, you're a consultant, correct? Sandra's a consultant, right?
I believe so. I can check. It's not coming off mute.
Sandra's an advisor.
Advisor, okay.
Oh.
So Stormy or Nikia in this case would be in that expert line, and they can certainly have the conversations with the customer. And then if they need to get a second proposal, then get a second proposal from another company. You're likely going to find that we're going to come in the best.
And what I would recommend for the experts, since they've already made contact with the customer, if they have already made contact with the customer and have a proposal in front of them, is to just ask the customer, for when they plan to get that competitive bid, so that you have a good idea if they're really serious about getting that competitive bid, when that's going to be or the time frame, and then schedule a follow-up for right after so that you can help them do a competitive analysis and see if what the customer is being told by another company, if it's apples to apples, if they're, and point out where you might be able to win over them in a sense, where our features and benefits. Basically, the idea is you want to get back right in front of them and be that last person of contact so that you can be the one to educate them on what they're seeing from their competition.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. Thank you, because I was also looking at it from the commercial property perspective, and they have asked you that question a couple of times now. So that's very good. Thank you.
Great. All right. Is there any more people raising their hand that want to talk about this slide deck right now, the objection, I need to do more research?
Stanley came off mute. If you need have a question, Stanley, go for it. Okay. I'll put him back on mute. That's it, Rachel.
Awesome. Okay. Well, rolling on. So next objection, I need to talk to my spouse. I know this is a common one. It's a common one probably in even your own household. But oftentimes you will hear, I need to talk to my spouse first. If you are engaging just one customer, so if you're just talking to Mr. Jones and he's going to say, or vice versa, I need to talk to my spouse. People fear that not doing anything without their spouses knowing, or their significant other or their partner, decision makers, it'll create unnecessary problems, So in this case, I would like to see if, Marconi, hey, can you hear me? Awesome. Marconi, can you be the customer in this one for us? And then I'll do the advisor talk track.
Okay. I need to talk to my wife first.
Sure, and I think that's really important. So to be clear, you want to make sure that your wife knows about this before having someone come out to your home or do a consultation with you.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome. Well, what I can do is set something up a couple of days out so that you can talk to your wife about what we do. Just out of curiosity, what time works best for you and your wife to, in the next couple of days? Mornings or afternoons?
Definitely afternoon, 6 o'clock if you're available.
Awesome. Well, I'll take that down and let my expert know, but we'll definitely want to get in front of both of you guys and find a time that works for you, because it is a big decision, and there's a lot that we can cover and see if you qualify. Done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Keep it simple, but again, that whole idea of, acknowledge what they're saying. Sure, I think that's really important, and to be clear, you just want to make sure that your wife knows about this before having someone come out and sit down with you or talk to you over Zoom. Yeah, what I can do is set something up a couple days out so you can talk to them about what we do, and just out of curiosity, what time works best for you and your wife. Now, this might be also a good chance that if they're saying, well, we can do Monday at 2 o'clock, that sounds perfect. In the meantime, can we get a copy of your utility bill? That'll really help our experts, do a very good deep analysis for you, so that when we come and talk to you, we'll have all of our information that we need. However you want to work with your advisors, and advisors work with your experts on gathering that information up front. This is just another tool in your belt for when you get those types of objections. Do we have anybody here?
George has a comment.
Sweet, George, let's go.
Yes, in regards to that objection, what I typically like to do is from the start, I ask the lead if there's someone else that will be making that decision, and let them know from the beginning that, this is something important, and obviously it affects your family. So I'd like to make sure that both of you are part of the conversation from the beginning. And that really helps.
Perfect. All right. Is there anybody else that'd like to share some best practices if they have?
No more hands, no more unmutes.
Sweet. Well, we are going to roll on. I hate this one. What's the kilowatt rate, or what does it cost? Again, from an advisor perspective, this can be really tricky, as solar, especially if you're an advisor that's actually gotten the solar on your house already, So as solar becomes more popular, customers receive information from all kinds of sources, whether it's a radio advertisement, mail ad, or a salesperson from another company. Some customers are more educated than others and may want to know what the kilowatt hour rate is, or what their monthly cost would be before they've even talked to anybody. So Dwayne, can you be the customer on this one?
Yes, absolutely. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. All right. What's your kilowatt hour rate, or how much does it cost?
That's a great question, and one I hear a lot. So to be clear, you want to know how much you'll be paying every month.
Actually, no. I just want to know what the rate will be.
Well, we do have multiple programs available, and it depends on what you want to choose for your particular house. One of our local energy experts will show you exactly how many panels will fit on your roof and give you specific numbers to think about. That way, for sure if if our solar option makes sense for you or not. Again, roll into, let me do this for you. I do have some time on our experts' calendar this week. Do mornings or afternoons work best?
Mornings work.
First one. Sweet. Whoever wants mornings, that's the guy to go to.
I just had coffee, so I'm good.
Yeah, right on. So you guys, I don't know how many of you run into this question. I know in my experience, it comes up a lot. People just say, I just want to know how much it costs, and it's really, really a delicate way to kind of flip them into, again, educating them that not every house is the same. Your neighbor that may have gotten solar, or your uncle or your brother or whoever that might have gotten solar, their situation is going to be completely different than yours. And this is why we do the consultations for them. Do we have anybody with any questions or best practices on this objection?
Just to add to what you said, Rachel, which is fantastic, by the way, and that is, absolutely every home is different. So let's see what's true for your home, right? The best way to do that is now lock in a time, get the bill, etc. So great coaching.
Thank you. All right. Do we see any hands up?
No hands.
Awesome. And again, you guys, you're going to get this slide deck. So I want to make sure you guys know that this will be there for you. And if you could try to find some time this week or in your next interactions to practice this, to practice the hear what they're saying, acknowledge what they're saying, literally just repeat back to them, clarify it. I know it seems redundant, but it really does work, and then educate them. And just by kind of having a process gives your brain even time to really get to that education piece.
Darla has a comment that she put in. So
okay,
let's throw it out there. Darla, I'll unmute you.
Okay, thank you. I have the perfect customer. They're 100% electric house, $400 a month. That could go to $206. It was someone that is ready to go, needing to save this money, and they first of all, the two of the conference calls of the presentation calls did not happen. And we were standing with two computers, standing for about 25 minutes, which is kind of hard. And then when they finally got on, about 25 minutes late from the second no-show call, they had no presentation. And it was like, well, you need 45 panel system, $58,000. You can say blah, 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 and big cost, big number of panels. Well, do you want it? And it was just a stunning, no idea. The presenter sounded a little hungover. I did make a call to the manager and said, this is not going to be a good idea. So they came back with actually a price of gave them all the good visuals. It was green solar, good visuals, good presentation, and gave them a discount of $15,000, which I think it began to look like, wow, I was really being soaked for something $15,000 more, and now they don't need as many panels. So it was this big, Jimmy, the customer obviously is not going to have any faith or confidence in our integrity. So he came back to me and said, well, my wife does not want to go into debt right now and does not want to take out a loan. A lot of Christian people believe in not taking out a debt. And so I'm trying to get him. I said, hey, Lee, let's go with a second presentation with another of your local companies, because I didn't feel comfortable in any way how he was handled, even though it was my first presentation. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So they were very sorry, said it would never happen again. They know, what happened. The presenter was not prepared in any way. And so how do I recover the confidence? Let's go with a second analysis, because all the information's already in. It'll just take a call. What can I do? Because I am not able to talk to the wife, and I think that I don't know how to get to the two of them together.
So Darla, I'm going to use the lace on you. So, so I just want to get this right. So what happened was you had a 2.0 situation where your presenter from the other company did not do a great proposal or presentation. And just to clarify, is that something that what happened was you were able to kind of turn them back around and get another proposal from another provider, and it was better?
No, I haven't been able to get them to go with a second proposal. And
okay.
I think it could be recovered, because a no-show and then a no preparedness. Hey, it's $58,000. Do you want it? It's going to cover all of your roof and some of your yard. What do you think? And I don't know how to. And he's a great credit, 100-something thousand a year, both partners. Wonderful. Absolutely would love to save that $200 a month. How can we recover this confidence of integrity?
Well, without looking at everything in front of me, but I would say this is a perfect opportunity for you and I, Darla, to maybe do a one-on-one so I can delve a little deeper into this. Awesome. And maybe use the
okay.
everybody knows the shtick because I'm pretty sure everybody shopped for a car at some point, but where you use the, hey, I really care about you and your needs, customer. I want to make things right with you, and I'd love to get you on a call with me and my manager so that we can go over the second proposal and just kind of see if they're open to it.
Yeah, I can try that. And also in this situation, like you said to different sources, he sent to me an ad and wherever it was, and it said, hey, we give free proposals, free analysis, and basically the same things we say. So I went into that and I read down, and some of these companies, or they quite often do, have a clause that says that once they have your information, you cannot block them, and absolutely all of the do not call lists would never be able to be instigated in their situation, which I enlightened him with that, like, wait a minute, Lee, look at what is attached to it. And he was very grateful for that. I think he has confidence in me, and I just think we can make that call would be awesome because...
Yeah, and we'll do that offline. And that's a really good point, though, that last thing you just said, Darla. A lot of times, because there are so many options out there for people to go solar, a lot of times where we win is that they're buying you. We've talked about this before. Charles and I, we talked about this in the last thing. It's really about your relationships and how you present yourself and being that person, that source of trust for them. So, so Darla, thank you for sharing, and we will take that offline and get a little deeper into it. So if there's any other questions, Charles, for this particular objection, am I good to move on?
You're good.
Awesome. Okay. This is a good one. Can I get your card? This is what I hate so much. I don't even care. Honestly, I personally don't carry cards. I just put people's phone numbers in my phone immediately and then text them so that they have me in their phone. But when customers are not interested, but when they're not interested but don't want to say that, they use the phrase, I'll take a card. However, that card usually does find its way into the nearest garbage can, and that's just the truth. I mean, So let's go, Marconi. Oh, wait, I already picked on you, Marconi. Let me see who else is on here. Hey, Bob Schrum. Can you be the customer in this one?
You're unmuted, Bob.
And I'm picking on you specifically because you have the giant jar of cards. I think, was that you that had it, or maybe it was Randy, but it was Randy with the giant jar of cards because he's like the one person that saves cards. So Bob, can you do it?
Yes, absolutely. Can I get your card?
A lot of people ask me for my card, actually. We're a green company though, and I don't hand anything out. It will just take a minute though for me to see if your home qualifies. Then either at that point, just delve right into the qualifiers or hand it off to a rep, But the other thing that I didn't put in here and I'll add is you can also just say, we're a green company though, and I don't hand anything out. That if you do hand things out, then go by all means, hand them out. But I would say try a tactic if handing out your cards that have not gotten a ton of responses back, try and say, you know what, let me do this. Do you have your cell phone on you? And then just pull their information into your phone. Say, well, I'm just going to send you a quick text so that you have my info, and then save them immediately into your phone so that you can contact them later. Do we have any questions on that? And again, some people are huge believers in cards. I'm not. We are a green company. I hate using paper if I don't have to. And I just utilize my mobile phone whenever I can to gather their information.
Yeah, Tom had posted in here, great suggestion. DigiCard is a good app. In my case, I'm same as Rachel. I don't carry a card, so I have all my information saved, and all I'll do is say, great, I've got my card right here. I'll send it to you electronically. But let's get back to the point. Let's make sure, see if your home even qualifies, because every home's different. You may not have qualified. Let's go ahead and get a copy of your bill, and we'll get this process started.
Awesome. Anybody have any other suggestions or best practices they use that's outside of using business cards on a regular basis?
George has a comment.
Yes, this is kind of funny, but I use technology. So I have a digital business card. And so when someone asks me for a card, I'll say, great, well, we're all about the environment. So do me a favor, if you have your phone, just I want you to go to your text app and text 88799, and then the message is solar. And when
Awesome.
they do that, I receive their number, and they'll receive a link to my digital business card, and there will be my power link and my phone number, and then that way I know who they are, and they know who I am, and just another way that I can keep in contact with them.
Hey, George, do me a favor. Send me an email with the app you use, and I'll include it in the weekly summary from today's training. And that way, anybody that wants to look into that for themselves, they can. I know a lot of those tech services, they might have a monthly fee or a membership fee, but like you said, it simplifies everything and it creates your database.
Yeah, I think I pay $99 a year for it.
Yeah, so it's like a Netflix subscription, So yeah, if you could send that link to me, I will include it in the summary for this week's training, okay?
I'd be more than happy to.
Thank you. Any other questions or best practices on this objection? All right, Charles, it sounds like we're good. I can move on?
Still there?
All right, I don't know if we're coming up on the last one yet, but...
Can anyone hear me?
Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No worries. My name is Sean. I'm from Victoria, BC. And
Welcome.
I am a door knocker, and I knock on doors a lot. And I get to the door, and they say, can I have a piece of paper or a card?
Nah.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to have massive recycling bin that people throw my stuff into.
So do you think that using something like this would be helpful to kind of deflect some of those objections at the door?
Yeah, I'm just wondering how to deflect that. Another problem is I have a lot of renters. About 70% of Victoria is rentals. It's crazy. It's the biggest rental city in BC. But how do I get to the landlords?
So, I mean, you could spend a lot of time talking to the renters and finding out, like, hey, are you paying a lot in your utility? Because a lot of landlords, and I don't know, Charles, about Canada, but unless there is a lease type of PPA program, a lot of people won't put it on their rentals because they can't utilize any tax incentives if it's not their main residence. So using renters as an opportunity, if you're already talking to them, to talk about the other side of the power business of, generating wealth and becoming a referrer, because I'm sure those renters know homeowners. That might be something that you kind of have two different talk tracks, one for renters, one for homeowners, that you might want to utilize.
Okay.
The other thing too, to maybe make your time a little bit more effective is there Zillow or something like Zillow in Canada?
I don't know. I don't know what Zillow is, but I can look into it.
So Zillow here in the States, it's just an app that you can use to see what houses are for sale or for rent in a given area. And in that app, and there might be a similar app if they don't have that in Canada, which I would think they do, they're pretty big. Do a search for people that have purchased a home in the last 6 months. Get just those homes on your list, and then you can look up some different kind of smart router GPS type programs where you plug in those addresses and create a smart route for yourself. And instead of canvassing whole neighborhoods, just canvass those houses that are new homeowners and hit them up and say, hey, congratulations, it looks like you just moved into the house here recently. I just wanted to welcome you to the neighborhood and let you know that we're doing a new program for solar, and have you had a chance to look into that for your new house?
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't need a brochure or a business card for that either.
If your sole focus is to get them in the door and talking to one of our experts, just explain what you're there to do.
Yeah.
Got a couple tips that I'll throw in on this one for you, Sean. And I've done a lot of door-to-door, and we'll actually be doing a door-to-door training either the 22nd or 23rd.
Right on.
Finalize that, and we'll do a very similar Zoom to this. I use the same tactic in terms of not carrying a business card or not carrying a flyer, because we're a green company. Instead, what I do is laminate the existing flyer that's in the back office. So you can download that. I don't know if you've seen it in the library. There's a flyer there. Take that and laminate it. You may pay $1 to laminate it, but it sticks with the theme, right? We're a green company. We don't need paper. That's just the nature of our business. However, I can get your information, use your digital card, all the things, the same type of process as you go door to door. The great thing is you collect their information. That's a good value add. Last
what
comment.
happens after you laminate it?
What's that?
What happens after you laminate it?
You just use that as a hand. You've got it in your hand. You can show it. In fact, in the coaching, I don't want to get too off track on canvassing. We'll show exactly how to hold the flyer and posture yourself and all those good things. But to the fact of the renters, that is a complicated situation. Rachel gave some great advice there. I would just caution you, and when you're first getting started, to try to get to the owners can be a little bit encumbering on your time.
Yeah.
Right? We're spending a lot of time trying to find owners, as opposed to what Rachel suggests is do a little research on the front end and just focus on those that are owners. So
I like that. I like that tip. Thank you.
Hey,
Awesome.
Sean, this is Dave Bradburn up in Washington State. I've done quite a bit of door knocking in California, and I was really good at it. Make sure you have a clipboard in your hand with a pen. You want to break eye contact with the customer sometime, act like you're writing stuff down. It's very important when you're at the door with a customer.
we'll have you on that coaching call when we do that canvassing call there, Dave.
Okay. Sounds good.
I agree with David on that. You know, when I used to work for Tesla, and I had the team that worked in the Home Depots, they used to use their Surface Pro or their tablet. But one of the techniques that we would always train them, and it can be very much used in the door knocking, is as you're taking information, or you're just, you're asking them, okay, you're looking for that best time, you kind of turn your shoulder a little bit to them, turn your shoulder and look down, and just expect them to keep talking and tell you what you need. It's a subliminal thing. And because if you make too much eye contact, sometimes that's where they're like, I'm not interested. You get the hand, you get the Heisman, So definitely a great technique, Dave. Thank you for sharing that. And you guys, if there's not any more questions on this, we're getting close to the hour mark. I'm going to go ahead and finish the last slide and open it up for some questions, and we'll go from there. Okay. Any other questions, Charles?
You got it.
Awesome. Okay. This is the last objection I put down as an example. What if my utility rates go down? I know. So stupid. People have experienced many fluctuations in their utility costs. We've all experienced gas prices skyrocketing and then going back to a normal price. Although homeowners have experienced utility rates that generally always increase, some people are worried that they will make a major investment and then the utility rates go down. So if I could have, actually, Dave Bradburn, why don't you go ahead and be the customer?
Okay. What if my utility rates go down?
That's a great question. So to be clear, you want to make sure you won't be paying more with solar.
Yes, exactly.
It's extremely unlikely that utility rates will go down, given the fact that historically rates have increased each year. What's beneficial about power is that you can lock in your rate, so you'll know exactly how much you're paying for your electricity for the lifetime of the panels. It'll protect you against rate hikes, and better yet, you'll be producing a cleaner, cheaper electricity rather than more expensive, dirty electricity with your current utility. Let me do this for you. Let's get you connected with one of our experts, and they can see if solar is a fit or not. Which works best, morning or afternoon?
Morning.
Awesome. So, do you have, I know it's like in this day and age, you might not get this specific objection very often because people are starting to get hip to the fact that the utility is on a crazy incline, but there's always going to be that one person. And one thing to recognize, if you ever do get this objection, it's usually somebody that's not educated on their utility at all, or on solar or electricity. They just pay their bill because they figure they have no other choice. Those are great opportunities to educate them and open their eyes to this new and different way of paying for electricity. Do we have any questions or best practices on something like this?
The only add-on I would say to that is get some historical data for your local markets and know what those trends have been. I mean, historically, the rates are doubling every 10 to 15 years. That's 50 years of data, but get some local. I laminate here in Dallas. I laminate an article in the newspaper that talks about the rates. That they basically the paper and the utilities are recommend people lock in their rates because they're going to raise. Anything you can do to validate from a third party is only going to help you even more.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. And you guys, I really appreciate everybody's time today. As you saw in the email that went out and Jonathan's message to everybody, we will be doing these ongoing. I will have to clarify though, next week, there might be some changes to the training schedule. We are definitely doing a Monday training. I have not set out the topic for that, so just join and be surprised. But on Monday for sure we'll have the advisor training, but on Wednesday I'm not yet sure what's going on because I'll be out of town down in San Diego for a quarterly. After that though, always expect Mondays and Wednesdays for advisor training, okay? And if you do have any topic requests or anything, this is my email. Please send it to me with a subject line of what it is you're looking for. And I'll be more than happy to get on a call with you if needed or to add any training topics in the future.
I want to add to that. I love what we're doing here, Rachel. It's going to be a great add-on for everyone. Can we go to the video only, so stop screen share for a moment?
Yep.
Cool. Thank you.
There you go.
All right, so now we get back into just kind of, you get some great assets, some great coaching to do your business, but we'll put things into perspective. And this process has become very simple. Sometimes we get into the complicated side when we get on these calls. We start talking about consultant-related things, right? Let's keep it simple and ask yourself the question, if you haven't already done it, what's your next objective? Where do you want to be? If you haven't hit Rising Star, are you focused on hitting Rising Star? What does it take to do that? And I always hold up my hand, right? Just hold up my hand and say, it's as simple as this. Start collecting electric bills until you have a handful that have resulted in an appointment. Once that happens, we know historically that at least one of those is going to go to contract. When that happens, just a handful and one contract, you get a $700 bonus. So whether this works or doesn't work for you in your short period of time, and you're looking, perhaps you're beyond that and you're going to rank structure, that's the coaching to give your new people as you start to team build, like what David just did. You just brought in somebody. That's the conversation to have with that person. Man, to get yourself started, you can get a return on your investment and you can become profitable in a matter of days by simply holding up a hand. Then turn that over to the team building side, which all of us should be focused on passive income, right? You hold up your left hand. After you've done this, now hold up your left hand and say, then, or simultaneously, depending upon how much time you have, focus on helping a handful of people get into the business and do exactly what you just did, which is start collecting electric bills and become a rising star in this company. So ask yourself the question, where do you want to be in the next 30 days? I mean, Jonathan put out a great message about planning for 2019. But let's just look at the next 30 days. Where do you want to be? I see people ranking up like crazy. By the way, Chief, congratulations with Certified Advisor today. Just re-engaged in the company, and boom, within a matter of days is that Certified Advisor. Where do you want to be? Ask yourself that question, and then that's the type of thing to really get focused. And keep it simple. Just put your hands up, right? Get a handful of appointments, get a handful of people, and build an empire to whatever extent it is you desire. It's your business. As much passive income as you want, that's your call. How do you do that? So come back with that thought. Where do you want to be in the next 30 days? Wherever you are now, where do you want to be in 30 days? And we're going to help you get there. Any questions?
Awesome.
Rachel?
Thank you. Yeah, no, thank you so much for sharing that, Charles. And on that too, advisors, get with your mentors and the people you're working with and set some goals, write it down, make it real, for sure. We're still in that beginning part of the month and we have a whole year to just make a huge difference, not just in your own income, but in the environment, in the families that we can help. So 100%. Thank you guys so much for joining. And thank you, Charles, for all of your expertise here. I love doing these dual meetings with the advisors. Just a little feedback from you guys. If anybody wants to share how they've liked this first week of training, I would love to hear it. Or if you hate it, just tell me. I'm easy.
I think it's great having you on board. I'm really looking forward to what lies ahead. In about 2 weeks, I'm going to be in California door knocking, so watch out for this guy in power because I'm going to be taking it to the next level.
Well, I'll go out with you, Dave. Let's do it, baby. Come on.
So I'm going that way.
Right on.
Awesome. All right. Hey,
Yeah,
put out on Facebook. Let people know what they're missing by not coming to these sessions. Put it out there. All right. Best is ahead, everyone.
You betcha.
Thank you all.
Thank